are live. Hey everybody, what's up? This is Kylie. I am happy you are here. Hold on one second. I am just gonna pull up a couple things on my computer while we let some people trickle in here. And I would love to see if you are here watching this video. Give me a like or a comment. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're watching from. We are going to talk about Facebook marketing. So what we're going to talk about today is it's going to be specific to Facebook marketing, but it's actually going to be valuable in any area of your business when it comes to online lead generation and closing more online leads. So that's what we're talking about today. We work with investors all across the country. We've worked with more than 100 investors, and we have put together some of the top traits that make those investors successful in finding leads on Facebook and then closing leads on Facebook. And that is what we are going to cover today. So I'm just going to hang out for a second while we wait for a couple more people to trickle in. And then we'll jump into this and get started. I'm trying something new. I'm going to try the whiteboard today. So definitely give me feedback on whether the whiteboard works. Hey Kenny, give me like a thumbs up or something if you can hear me okay. Oops. Alrighty. All right. Well, let's jump into this. If anyone comes late, they can always jump on and hang out with us later. And Marisa says she can hear me. I think that's what that thumbs up says. Thank you. Awesome. Alrighty. And I realized I started this video horizontal, vertical. My apologies. I'm just going to leave it that way though, since we're already going. I know it's not as ideal to have the little gray bars on the side, but oh well. All right. Okay, so let's jump into this. These are the 4 traits of top producers when it comes to closing online leads for real estate investors. This is actually something that I covered on a coaching call for the Facebook Leads Masterclass course that I've teamed up with Investor Carrot on. So if you're in that course, some of this will be a little bit of a repeat, but I think there's some additional new information in there as well. But let's start off with number 1. Number 1 is consistency. So one thing that's really important to remember with Facebook is that your first month is typically going to be your slowest month. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number 1, depending on how much traffic is currently coming to your website, you likely, it's going to take some time to build up your retargeting audience. So if you think about it, retargeting is anyone that comes and lands on your website and then doesn't take the action you want them to take. So in this case, that's filling out your lead form. And then Facebook takes those people and retargets them, tries to bring them back to the website. So if you're kind of starting from ground zero, you don't have any traffic coming to your site currently, then it's going to take a little bit of time for enough traffic to go into that retargeting pool so that Facebook can effectively optimize and bring those people back. So that's one of the reasons. Also, your Facebook pixel will get to know, for lack of a better term, will get to know your website over time. And the Facebook pixel actually learns as time goes on. It learns things about what types of people are going to convert best on your website, and that helps your performance over time. So in the beginning, it might take a little bit for that pixel to get to know you, and then over time it starts performing better and better. Also, you're going to find that conversions build over time because of retargeting. So as more and more people are getting retargeted, you'll start to see more conversions. And when I say conversions, I'm talking about leads, but you'll actually start to see better value coming out of your Facebook ads as well, because you'll start to have more deals that are closing. So Facebook is unique in that it finds people at different levels of the decision-making process. So you'll find people who are ready to go, they're ready to talk to you, they have a house they need to sell, and they're ready to get moving, and you can work that deal pretty quickly. But you're also going to find people, because of the nature of targeting on Facebook, you're going to find people that are higher up in that decision-making process, meaning they're further away from the end decision. And they may need a little bit of more time, they may need some more consulting, some help, some conversation to get them along the pipeline, along that funnel to closing the deal. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But because of that, it's not uncommon that your first touch with somebody, it might be a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, even 6 months or more before that person actually closes. So it makes sense that the longer you've been doing this, the more you'll start closing deals, because you've got now people that you talked to 3 months ago that are starting to kind of get ready to close, and then you've got people that you talked to 2 months ago and 4 months ago and 5 months ago. Does that make sense? So the leads build over time. The other reason that consistency is important is that your content builds on itself. So one of the things we really get on a soapbox about is that people need to create customer testimonials. They need to talk about the houses that they have bought and sold. They need to introduce themselves on social media, make sure that you're helping people put a connection to the face of the business. And the more you do that, that builds social proof, that builds connection. If you think about it, if you go to a website and it has 0 testimonials, then you have a hard time sort of connecting with that business. Now, what if they have 1 testimonial? That's good. What if they have 3? That's better. What if they have a page that you just have to scroll through over and over and over again? You're probably not even going to read or watch all those testimonials, but man, that's so much social proof right there, not only on Facebook, but on your website too. So as you start to gather testimonials, the power of those grows over time as you get more and more, or as you start to connect with your audience more. If you decide to do what we call intro videos, which is where you'd hop in front of the camera yourself and talk about the business, maybe you're walking through a home and you're going to help people understand what you do and how you help them. Okay, and then the next one, the 4th point on this, is that data builds on data. So similar to how content builds on itself, data does the same thing. This is especially true online. When you first start out, you might only have 1 or 2 data sources. You might have a direct mail list you're going after. Of course, you'll have your retargeting that you are using, and that might be it to begin with. So what do you do over time? Well, there's a couple things you can do. Number one, you can create a lookalike audience off of that direct mail list, that custom list that you upload to Facebook. You can also build a lookalike audience based off of your website traffic. So as you start to get more and more website traffic, and that pixel is firing, that Facebook tracking pixel, you can now build a lookalike audience based off of that as well, right? So now you went from 2 audiences to 4 audiences. Then as your retargeting audience gets bigger, you can even segment that audience out based on people who filled out the lead form versus people who didn't. And you can target those people separately. You can build lookalike audiences separately off of those. You can run a broad audience, which basically would be a geographic area where you're running ads, sort of more like a digital bandit sign strategy, which is what some people call that. And that's going to generate traffic and opportunity to create lookalike audiences as well. Now, as you start to close deals and you close more and more deals, you can create a lookalike audience off of those deals that you're closing. So I think you get the idea. Basically, data builds on data. And I want to pause right there for a second. Just welcome everyone that has joined us since we started. We're talking about the 4 traits of top producers when it comes to closing online leads in real estate. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments down below. I'm trying to watch the comments down here. That's why you see me looking. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. If you have questions, feel free to put them down in there, and I'm going to try my best to answer those as we go along. So, all right, that's number 1, consistency. Let's talk about trait number 2. Okay, so recently I created a Facebook poll inside of a group that I belong to full of real estate investor professionals. And I asked them, how often do you follow up with a lead before you give up? And it's interesting because 50% of the people who responded followed up 4 times or less. That's pretty significant percentage of people. And then a few more followed up in the 8 to 10 range. And then we had just a couple that said that they followed up more than 11 times. Mark, thank you. This is my Wolves Howling at the Moon with American flag in the background t-shirt. It's a beauty. I'm not sure where I got it. I think maybe like Walmart or something. It seems like that's probably where I got it. See you, JT. So why is that important? Because the next piece on the next trait is follow-up. It has been my experience that most investors are not following up enough with their online leads. And you have to remember again that Facebook is unique even compared to other online leads. So if someone is finding you through PPC, pay-per-click, Google Ads, so they do a search, they find your ad, they click it, that person was actively searching for a solution. So they're already problem aware, they know they have a problem. They might already be solution aware, so they might already know that there's an option to sell their home to someone like you. They might even be aware of your business somehow. So they're further down that funnel, right? So they're typically a little bit more ready to talk to you. They might even be a little bit more motivated to talk to you. Now, someone on Facebook, when you find them, they're doing whatever they're doing on Facebook. So this is part of what makes Facebook so great and which makes it a unique challenge to solve. You're getting in front of people that aren't actively seeking you out, which means you're getting in front of more people. You're going out and you're finding deals that other investors aren't taking the time to find because they're a little bit harder to find. But you have to be more consistent and persistent in your follow-up in order to make sure that you are leveraging those deals. So you have to think about it like this. You are paying money for those leads to come through. You can't leave any stone unturned. So one of the best and biggest investors that I know, a guy by the name of Brad, he's amazing. He suggested that he follows up with his leads as many as 13 times in the first week. That's a lot. That's more than most people. And that's done not just via phone. It's not just phone call after phone call after phone call. It's phone call, it's email, it's text message. So they're getting back to people in various ways to make sure that they really connect with those people. And then once they connect with those people, and that person says, oh, I'm just kind of was interested in what you're doing, they're really good on the phone in talking to that person and keeping the conversation going and drawing more information out of them by focusing on them, making it about them and their problem and not about you, right? And then they're really good at following up with that person too if they're not quite ready for whatever reason. Looks like I had. All right. Mark. Dude, you didn't distract me. I love a good t-shirt comment. Thanks, man. Mark is asking me Is it still kosher to upload lists of motivated sellers to target as a custom audience? All right, Mark, that's a good question, and you'll probably hear some varied opinions on this. Basically, Facebook has made a change. When you upload a list, it's going to ask you, is this data that you collected? Is this data that you got from partners? Or is this a combination of data you collected and data from partners? And do you have the right to market to these people? So it's going to depend on where that list came from, man. And you're going to have to, I would recommend just consulting. You've probably got a real estate attorney that you work with. So I would recommend just consulting with them and seeing what they say about it, because there might be some opinion in that actually, which sounds interesting. And there's also something. So for example, if you pull a list from the county, do you have the right to market to those people? That's an interesting question, and it's yet to be seen how Facebook will determine that and how they will enforce that as well. So, good question. So I'm going to add one piece to that. This is one of the reasons I think it's so important to be building your own data over time. So using those custom lists, but also then creating lookalike audiences, building a lot of website traffic and building audiences off of that. Because I imagine, and I wouldn't be surprised if at one point we get to a place on Facebook that's similar to email where people can basically unsubscribe from you specifically. Or they can say, I never subscribe to receive an ad from this person, right? Or some variation of that, like you can do that in email. And it also wouldn't surprise me then if Facebook tracks that and says, man, this business over here, they're getting a lot of like quote unquote abuse complaints, a lot of unsubscribes. So, and that could potentially like impact you as an advertiser or as a business. So we're not at that point yet. People can say, I don't want to see this ad. That can impact your ad delivery. But we're not at the point where people can just sort of where it's exactly like email. But I think we potentially could get there. I mean, people now can say, I don't want to see ads from this advertiser anymore. But it's a little bit more buried. It's not as easy as email. And anyways. Mark says, yeah, man, I think, it's, you're right on. It's going to be really interesting to see like how that goes and what lists are allowed and which ones aren't. And I think that's a bridge everybody's going to have to kind of cross when they get there. Sorry, guys, you got to look at my bald head while I'm reading these comments. I hope the light is not glaring and blinding you. All right. I think I answered your question, Mark. If not, then chime in here, and I'm happy to give you some more. So, all right, let's jump back into follow-up. Okay, so there's 3 keys that I just want to share with you. I kind of already did, but I'm going to give them to you in like 3 bullet points. Number 1, be consistent and persistent in your follow-up. Number 2, don't just use a single method or a single channel to follow up with people. Use multiple methods. This is the digital age. So if you just keep calling them, they're not answering. I know people who like never answer their phone. They see the phone ring and they're like, what is this, 2008? Why is someone calling me? So if you're just calling them over and over again, find another way to get in touch with them. Send them a text, shoot them an email, write them a letter and send it to their house. I don't know. But you want to use multiple channels, right? And then the other one we talked about is understanding the variety or the varied nature of their readiness. So some people might be ready to go, let's talk right now. Some people might be like, I'm kind of busy. I was interested in talking. And that person may take a little bit more time. And after you've tried them a certain number of times, you may kind of shelve them and come back to them in 4 or 5 weeks. So, all right, follow up. I'll just say this. I believe there are many investors that are not following up with their leads enough. All right, number 3. What is number 3? Number 3 is good content. All right, if you are serving the exact same ad to people over and over and over and over again, just kind of beating them over the head with it, you're missing the mark. Facebook is so powerful and gives you the ability to test all kinds of content. They actually give you stock imagery right inside of Ads Manager that you can use, so you can at least vary the image up at a minimum. But there are really a couple types of content we found that are most successful. I talked about these a little bit earlier, but the first one is customer testimonials, especially video testimonials. Not some long, drawn out, doesn't have to be highly produced video. In fact, raw, kind of like live style video like we're doing right now. People resonate with that because they see a lot of live video on Facebook, so they don't care if your testimonial is not a nice production, right? And it doesn't need to be long, like 15, 30, 45 seconds max. In fact, if it's short, it opens up more avenues of where that ad can go inside of Facebook and Instagram, okay? The other one is success stories. And my notes popped off. Oh, there we go. Okay. So success stories have a similar purpose as a testimonial, but the difference would be that you're basically just talking about the homes that you've done deals on, right? So this could be that you take an image of a home and you type up a quick story about it, or maybe you're standing in front of the home and you're talking about, on video, you're talking about the home and how you help the seller. So the focus is very much on how this would be meaningful to other people that you might do business with. And that type of content builds on itself over time, like we talked about. But those types of ads typically outperform just a static image, or maybe better said, a campaign performs best when you have a variety of stuff. So like a static image, or what some people would call like a digital bandit sign, some ads will even put like almost like a bandit sign on the ad. Those work quite well for like top of funnel, so getting a lot of traffic, getting a lot of initial leads. But nurturing people down to being qualified and being motivated, that takes more than a one-dimensional strategy. And so using really good content is a great way to do that. And again, this is not just about Facebook. Your website benefits if you can show people that you are actively doing deals, you're helping people like working with you, and it's just going to open up more doors and make people more comfortable working with you. All right, so that's content. Let's jump into number 4. Number 4 is a complete marketing strategy. Complete marketing, gotta go on another line, strategy. This really gets to the heart of how you run your business. So let me give you a couple scenarios where I've seen some challenges arise. If you are spread across too many marketing channels, you might experience issues with your systems. So I've worked worked with and have seen investors in the past that will one day realize, like, oh my goodness, all these leads from my direct mail, they weren't being put in my CRM, and because of that, like, we haven't been following up on them. Or maybe they're leads from Facebook or PPC or whatever it might be. They're not being worked properly because their systems aren't working well, or because their team isn't equipped or trained, doesn't have enough time, whatever, to actively work those leads. The other issue you could have is that you're spending too little on too much. So you're spending just a little bit on direct mail, a little bit on Facebook, a little bit on SEO, a little bit on PPC, a little bit on bandit signs, and ultimately you're just barely kind of dipping your toe in the pool in each of those. I would definitely recommend, if you find a channel that's working really well for you, dig into that channel, maximize that channel. I like to use the analogy of a vending machine. Imagine you were walking in the city one day and you found this vending machine, and every time you put $1 in the vending machine, it gives you $5 back. How many dollars are you going to put in that vending machine? The answer is as many as the vending machine will take, right? You're just going to keep feeding that vending machine dollars, and it's going to keep spitting $5 back out. So you're not going to stop putting dollars in that vending machine to go and find another vending machine, right? You're gonna keep putting money in that one, and then you're going to find another vending machine to put money in as well, right? And that's how I think about marketing. If direct mail is working for you, then maximize direct mail. Maximize it to the point where you potentially start to see some diminishing returns, which means maybe your return is kind of flattening out. So that could mean that you're now reached saturation from a spend perspective. It could mean that you've got to adapt your strategy, right? And then get yourself into another marketing channel. So the investors that I see that have the most success on Facebook are ones that follow this mindset, because Facebook, like we mentioned, your first month can be a little bit slower. And it might take 30, 60, 90 days before you've closed a deal, or you've kind of cracked the code on working with these unique type of leads. And so if you can't stomach that from a patient's perspective or a financial perspective, then you might want to rethink that, right? But if you've got direct mail cranking, bandit signs cranking, and deals are closing, then that makes you more comfortable in the investment of a new marketing channel. In this case, we're talking about Facebook. But you've got to be smart about how you're handling that investment into other marketing channels. Okay, the other thing is look individually and collectively. And what I mean by that is analyze each channel for what it is, track as much as you can inside of that channel, but also understand the overall impact of all of your marketing on your business. So tracking when you get online gets a little tricky, and it's not just true in this industry, it's true in any industry when you're doing online marketing. Most websites will use what is called last click attribution. So basically that means the last action that somebody took, that's what shows as the source of that purchase or that lead or that conversion. This is true, so a lot of my clients work with Investor Carrot, and these Investor Carrot uses last click attribution. So let me give you a scenario. Let's say someone is surfing on Facebook, they're looking at pictures of their niece, they got some good cat videos, whatever. They see your ad pop up and they go, oh, that's interesting. You know, I did just inherit this house. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. They tap on the ad, takes them to your website, and they start watching a couple testimonial videos. Well, halfway through the second testimonial video, they realize their lunch break is over. They got to get back to their desk, so they close their phone, go back to their desk, start working. Finish up the workday. Excuse me. Now they're racing. Now they're commuting. Now they're helping with dinner. They're taking kids to soccer practice, whatever. Later that night or 2 days later, they go, oh yeah, I was checking out that website. And now they're on their laptop and they Google your business name. Google search comes up, they click on your link in the Google search, they come to your site, they fill out the form. When you look at the source for that lead, it would say organic, because they searched you, they found you in the organic search listings. It's not going to mention Facebook, even though Facebook is the one that started that lead, right? Same thing could be true with a direct mail piece. Someone could find you via direct mail and then go on Facebook and look you up because they're like, I want to see if these guys are on Facebook and see if any of my friends, see if I have any friends that are connected with them or whatever. They find you on Facebook, they click on Facebook, they come to your website, they fill out a form. You get the idea. So, long story short, think about things individually and then think about things collectively as well. There are some ways on Facebook to try to bridge this gap with conversions that happen outside of this tracking. People don't behave linearly. Offline conversion events, that's a conversation for another time, but it's important to think about things individually and collectively. And the last thing I'll say there is just patience and momentum. So when you have a full, complete marketing strategy, you're thinking not just short term, but long term as well. And if Facebook is working well, it should be helping you with both parts of your business. It should be helping short term in a lot of ways. It should be generating leads, increasing flow to your website, which can help your SEO. It can help your brand recognition. More and more people are seeing you. You should start getting leads that you can work and close deals on. Long term, you're going to start closing more deals. You're also building a bigger presence on Facebook so that if someone searches you, they might find your website. They might also find your Facebook page. So now Facebook has become an online spokesperson for you in conjunction with your website. So those are the 4 right there: consistency, follow-up, good content, and a complete marketing strategy. Those are the 4 things I have found that create that set the top producers apart when it comes to closing online leads, especially Facebook, but it seems to be true for other online leads as well. So this actually came right out of a course that I made with Investor Carrot. It's called the Facebook Masterclass Advanced Edition. Sorry, it's kind of a mouthful. I'm super happy about it. I basically took the exact framework and strategy that I use to teach my team how to do Facebook ads, and I put it in a course. So there's like videos and and downloadables and monthly coaching calls and things like that. If you're interested at all in that, I'll put the link here for a webinar that Trevor Mock is from Investor Carrot. I partnered up with Investor Carrot on this course. I'll put the link to a webinar in the comments, or you can message me. Other than that, I would love to answer any questions you guys have. So if you're watching this video live and you have questions, please put them in the comments right now. If you watch this video later and it's no longer live, you can still comment. I'll come back and answer them best I can. You can also always send us a message on the page. We'd love to help you out, answer any questions we can. I hope this was valuable for you. Thank you so much for watching, those of you that were here with me, and those of you that come later, thank you. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and we'll see you again next week. I'm going to do another live video next week, probably about this same time. So if there's burning questions or topics you'd love to see me cover, typically I'll probably focus on Facebook marketing for real estate investors, but I'd be happy to jump into optimizing your website, branding, how PPC and Facebook work together, how direct mail and online work together. Basically, if you have, throw them at me. If you've got questions or if you've got topic ideas, I'd love to hear them. Again, thanks so much. See you next time.